If you're a mega celebrity with an enormous following, how do you interact with people who love what you do so much they've actually convinced themselves that they know you personally? In this video, we're going to take a look at how Giuseppe Verdi, perhaps the greatest of all Italian opera composers, dealt with one such fan in a particularly clever way. It all began with a letter he received that was dated May 7, 1872. It read, "My dear Maestro Verdi, attracted by your peerless genius and the sensation which your opera Aida is making, I went to a performance in Parma. I admired the scenery, listened with pleasure to the excellent singers, and took pains to let nothing escape me. After the performance was over, I asked myself whether I was satisfied. I decided that I wasn't. Then, as I walked back to the train station for the return trip to Reggio Emilia, I heard others give their verdicts. Nearly all of them agreed that Aida is a work of the highest rank. Perplexed, I resolved to hear it again, and so I returned to Parma 2 days later. Finding a seat was so difficult that I had to spend 5 lire to see the performance. I came to the following conclusion. Your opera contains absolutely nothing thrilling or electrifying, and if it were not for the magnificent scenery, the audience would not sit through it to the end. It will fill the theater a few more times and then gather dust in the archives. My dear Signor Verdi, you can imagine my regret at having spent 32 lire for these 2 performances. Add to this the embarrassment of being dependent on my family, and you will understand that the loss of this money preys on my mind like a terrible specter. Therefore, I address myself frankly and openly to you, so that you may send me this sum. Here are my expenses. Railroad trip one way, 2 lire 60 centesimi. Railroad return trip, 3 lire 30 centesimi. Theater tickets, 8 lire. Disgustingly bad dinner at the train station, 2 lire. That makes 15 lire 90 centesimi. Times 2, the final total is 31 lire 80 centesimi. With the hope that you will extricate me from this dilemma, I am yours sincerely, Prospero Bertani, via San Domenico No. 5, Reggio Emilia." Verdi responded by writing to his publisher, Giulio Ricordi, and asking him to serve as an intermediary. "My dear Ricordi, in order to save this proud scion of the family Bertani from the specters that pursue him, I shall gladly pay the bill he sends me. Please have one of your agents send him the sum of 27 lire 80 centesimi at the address he has provided. True, it isn't the whole sum he demands, but for me to also pay for his dinner seems a bit much. He could just as well have eaten at home. Of course, he must send you a receipt, as well as a signed written declaration promising to never hear another one of my operas. This will ensure that he won't expose himself again to the danger of being pursued by specters. It will also spare me further subsidizing his train travel, as my service in the noble cause of art does have its limits. As ever, Verdi." Bertani was extremely gratified by Verdi's response and solemnly pledged to never attend another one of his operas. The composer then sent the entire correspondence to the newspapers, exposing his young critic to public ridicule. But Bertani wasn't fazed. "Maestro Verdi has reimbursed me. This clearly means that he has found my opinion of his Aida to be correct." An old Bertrand Russell quote comes to mind. "The problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are so sure of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubt."